I want you to remember something. Claude is a tool to help you reach your creative destination. It is not the destination. Really, really important. Welcome back to my channel, and I feel like I'm late to the party here with Claude. So many people are putting out so much content around Claude, and I absolutely feel like I need to have my input here. First thing that I want to mention here is back about 9 months ago, I built a tool using AI. It wasn't Claude, it was ChatGPT, but I built an audit tool so that I could help myself in my job daily when I'm working on people's Etsy stores. The image of the audit tool's on the screen now. And this enabled me to catalog the performance of the store. Would you believe 2 years ago, I was actually writing these audits out, and then I was typing them out in a Google Sheet, and now I'm using this audit tool, which is a Google Chrome extension. Now, amazing, right? But as always, the truth is behind the scenes. So yes, I built the audit tool, and yes, by now it's saved me hundreds and hundreds of hours of work, and it's been well worth it. But just so you know, for me to build that audit tool using ChatGPT, it took 59 prompts, 59, okay? And a hell of a lot of thinking between those prompts. I would say that that tool took me between 16 and 24 hours of pure work to build, okay? It wasn't easy. It was very, very stressful. In the end, I got what I wanted, but as I said, AI is the tool to further your creative process. It's not the destination. You know, I had to put so much work and effort in to get this thing over the line. Now, coming up on your screen now is what you're being met with at the moment. And clearly you guys love it, because this Claude content, everyone's doing it. So on the screen is what's happening at the moment. That's a snapshot of what you're being fed about Claude. And clearly, a lot of you are buying into this stuff. And look, I'm not bashing AI and I'm not bashing Claude. I'm going to put out Claude content for you guys. But as always, I'm going to be the voice of reason and the voice of reality, because you'll know on the thumbnail, you've got the Etsy seller drinking the Claude beer. Everyone's getting drunk on Claude, right? Everyone's think, you know, it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It's the next big thing. The reality is significantly different to what's being shown on YouTube. Let's look at this a little bit further. A couple of weeks ago, a video came out about wedding planners. And basically, you could use Claude to analyze a wedding planner, and then you can build it yourself. And all of a sudden, you know, you've got this wedding planner, right? And you can sell it and make money on Etsy. That right there, and everyone's at it at the moment. That right there is the Claude dream. And it looks amazing, right? It wasn't quite as the video portrayed either. There were some steps missing, but you look at a listing, Claude analyzes it, it builds something for you. I mean, morality aside, I personally wouldn't be just ripping people's listings, copying them and so on. I wouldn't advise any of you do that. But as a concept, it looked amazing, right? You get all these, you know, you get all this work done for you, right? And all of a sudden you've got a listing that is apparently selling 10, 15, 20 a day, right? But remember what I said at the beginning, AI is a tool to further your creative process. It's not the destination, right? If you tried to sell that wedding planner, you'll get nowhere. You'll get nowhere. You won't sell any wedding planners, right? I work with wedding planners, right? I work with wedding planners who build these wonderful tools for people to plan their weddings. These things take 36, 48 hours of really hard work, right? You can't just jump in and skip all of that with AI. It does not work. You can't jump in and just go, right, do this for me, and all of a sudden you're selling wedding planners to the masses and making lots of money. It will not work, right? You've got to be connected to the process. You need to be a wedding planner. You need to at least have some kind of connection to the market you're selling in, right? I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying you can't do it. You've got to understand that AI is a process or tool to help you reach the destination. And as such, the next video I put out about Claude is going to be 10 genuinely useful things you can do with Claude to further your Etsy business and make money. But do you know what? I'm not going to approach this like all these other guys, because all these other guys are approaching it like they're the experts. You know, they're setting themselves up. It's the next big thing. They get loads of views. So they're all setting themselves up as experts. Do this, make 100 products in 5 minutes, make 500 designs in 20 minutes, you know, all this sort of stuff. You know, we all know where that road goes. It does not go to loads of sales and an amazing Etsy store, right? But there is a core element of it. Yes, you can use it to create designs. If you can create them quickly and have a brain to think about what you're doing, it is part of a process that might get you somewhere, right? So I'm going to approach Claude and all my content like you, as a user, right? Did you know, for example, Claude, it's not that straightforward. Everyone makes out it's so easy. It isn't. It's quite confusing. For example, Claude Design doesn't do what you think it does when you hear. When I heard about Claude Design, I was like, oh wow, the floodgates are going to open now. We're going to be able to do all this stuff. And you can't. Because Anthropic's meaning of Claude Design isn't the same as an Etsy seller's meaning of design. And people have actually pointed this out with YouTube videos. It's not quite what you think. So I'm going to approach this like you guys, and I'm going to talk about it as in the same sphere as you. I'm not an expert. I'm learning. I know a fair bit about it now, but I'm not setting myself up as an expert. But I think you'll get a lot of value out of the first video that I'm going to do, which is the 10 genuinely useful things you can do with Claude. And I've got another question. I want you to go into the comments and tell me, what is the Claude content you want to see? Please, everybody get into my comments. Tell me what you want to see. Nobody knows. Everyone's guessing. Everyone's throwing information at you. Do this, do that, make loads of money. Look, I'm not interested in selling you pipe dreams. I'm interested in reality. AI is good, right? I do use AI in my business. It is helpful, but you need a healthy dose of reality. Get into my comments and tell me what it is you want to see from me with Claude and AI in general. There's loads of different AI versions out there. There's one called Claude, right? Which is kind of like Claude's unhinged brother. I mean, I've heard some horror stories about it, but it's apparently it's Claude on steroids. And I'm going to be looking at all of this stuff. So get into my comments and you tell me what you want to see. And lastly, if you want to work with me, as always, don't wait, don't guess. The booking button for my academy is coming up on your screen. Private group learning to succeed on Etsy. 7-day free trial is on. Please get in there and be part of my lovely community. I look forward to seeing you there and in the comments. Cheers.